You can start recording.
We have started, sir.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to yet another episode of CII Startup Buzz. Most of you know, if it's Thursday, 5 p.m., you have to stop everything and come for Startup Buzz, because in this session, every week, we provide something which is meaningful to you, useful to you, and will help you in your startup journey. Whether you're a founder, VC, or just ordinary spectator wanting to know what's happening in the startup world, come to CII Startup Buzz. We are trying to ensure that over a period of a year or so, we'll have a library of so many sessions that whatever you want to know about the startup world is available. Today, Lalit is going to take over this session and have an interesting discussion with Niharika. Uh, I can only say I'm looking forward to the session, but more importantly, remember CII Startup Buzz every Thursday, 5 p.m. Over to you, Lalit. Thank you. Thank you, Niharika and Lalit, for joining. Thank you.
Thank you, Ninad, and thank you for leading this initiative, giving us a wonderful learning opportunity. Hi, Niharika.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome on board. So for all the audience, this is yet another edition of CII Startup Buzz, which, as Ninad has already told you, happens every Thursday, 5 p.m. So you have to follow CII and make sure you log in every Thursday, and you'll have one exciting startup after the other, giving us a lot of insights about their own struggles, their own journey. And today we have none other than Niharika Kolte Alekar. I got that right?
Yes.
Who's running this startup, which is Volar Alta. And
Volar
please forgive
Alta,
my please forgive my broken Spanish for the pronunciation. We'll try and keep this lively, so please keep posting your questions online on the comments box, and Anant will help me with the shortlisted questions. Before we get into drones and due diligence, I have a very important question for Niharika. Niharika, what is the toughest of these all? Is it holding your breath underwater as a scuba diver? Or is it jumping off the cliff as an adventure sports lover? Or is it getting your notes right as a classical singer that you have? Or is it the fourth hat that you wear, which is being a startup founder? Which is the toughest of them all?
Of course, being a startup founder.
Okay, so let's get started. Most people quit jobs because of salaries, bosses, and so on and so forth. But you have a different story, Niharika. You've jumped off the high-paying, high-flying job of investment banking into the world of startups. What convinced you to trade balance sheets and M&A for flying drones?
Yeah, so that's an interesting story, actually. I always knew I wanted to start something of my own since class 8, actually. I was very much, I still am, inspired by Richard Branson. I was reading his book, and that is when I actually fell in love with the concept of building something of your own. In class 11, I even tried to kind of have my own clean chai tapri. And, I scouted places in and around Pune, near, corporate centers, etc. And then I decided that it's important to, finish my education, get some real life experience, and then maybe think of it. So that led me to PwC, KPMG investment banking. And along the way, 6.5 years of doing M&A in energy, infra, and utility space. I figured that, there is probably a big white space out there which is unexplored. And I felt that now is the time, if I really wanted to take that leap of faith and start something of my own. And, that's how I decided in Feb 2020 that I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to get into this wild adventure of drones and inspections and industries. And, I just kind of took that leap of faith and started. There was no planning. There was no, it was not like a well thought out plan that in 2020 I'm going to quit, but it just kind of happened organically.
Fantastic. So what helped you spot the problem? How did you define the problem, and what was the aha moment that you said, okay, this is the love of my life?
Love of my life would still be entrepreneurship, but I'll tell you how I spotted the problem. During an M&A deal, right, there is a phase where technical due diligence is conducted. Since I was working in energy, infra, and utilities, I kind of understood how tough it is to do technical due diligence when we are talking about traditional methods of inspections, where we have to expose human beings to hazardous work environments. Not just that, the entire exercise itself takes quite a lot of time. And when everyone's talking of Industry 4.0, why are we still kind of dealing with manual methods and risking lives? So that got me curious, and just I kind of started researching on these new age technologies, etc. And I stumbled upon drones. Drones at that point of time were largely being utilized for defense purposes or marketing and films and stuff like that. But if you look at it in a way, it's just a tool that can fly. And then if you put multiple sensors on top of that, you can get that machine to do multiple things. So today, you know that we have multiple applications, like right from agri to real estate to now industrial inspections. Drones are pretty much everywhere, right? So I did a thorough market research. That is one thing you learn as an investment banker, to spot the right opportunities. And I applied what I learned on my job and figured that it's a large enough space because these are the industries that power economies, and all of the manufacturing plants basically need to be inspected. So the opportunity was large in India, outside India, and then I felt it's the right thing to do, and that's how I kind of decided. It was a very conscious decision to pick the sector that I wanted to start up in.
Fantastic. Great. So, and you got your timing spot on. You were earning a fat paycheck pre-COVID, and you launched a startup without the backup of a paycheck, a monthly paycheck coming in, and COVID hit you.
Yes. Talk about timing.
Yeah. So how did you keep your morale, momentum up and running during this challenging time?
Of course, I was scared. I was scared to no limits, right? Like, I don't have access to resources. You can't go out. There's nothing you can do. But then I had already taken that jump, right? Now there's no going back. So either you have two options: either you sit, cry, or you figure out, what you can do to kind of salvage the situation and move on in life, right? So there was a time when a lot of police forces had to go out during COVID to kind of figure out how the containment zones were behaving, etc. If there's any overcrowding and stuff like that, right? So we decided that, okay, why don't we help the local police forces do the surveillance activities with drones? So within literally like one night, I got in touch with these wedding videographers who already had the drones. I made like a group of 10 drone pilots. And under the ACT grant, we pitched to the local police forces to let us help them. And that's how we kick-started the business. What was supposed to be industrial inspection started with security and surveillance. And then during COVID times, we actually helped them to do these surveillance activities in containment zones. And I used to manually sit down and review the footages and give them reports as to, which area is behaving how. And then after a point of time, they actually relied on the reports to look at the distribution of their workforce, right? So that was the first, and I'm glad that my first project was so impactful. So that's how the business got kickstarted. And then we used the Slack period to speak with our customers, talk to them about the new technology, etc. And then slowly and steadily things started getting better for us.
Fantastic. So at the time of COVID, when I was busy extending my Duolingo streak in Spanish to 300 odd days, which is where your company name means to fly high in Spanish.
Yes.
And I'm sure you saved a lot of lives and got a lot of people who are probably enjoying the quarantine by getting out for fresh, clean air behind bars, but you saved a lot of lives, I'm sure. So good job. I hope there's nobody like that over here right now with us. So most startups usually fail when their customers fail to find them, Niharika, which is what I like to call the invisibility tax. And you avoided this tax. You avoided this tax by winning a lot of great clients very early in your career. How did you make this adoption happen in such risk-averse industries and so fast?
See, adoption of anything new in especially the industrial sector is hard. But as long as the value proposition is compelling and as long as you're able to demonstrate a solid ROI for the end customer, it gets easier with time. To break into these systems is definitely hard, no doubt about that. But once you get there, once you are able to showcase how we are able to help them reduce the time it takes to conduct these inspections, how we're able to have a positive impact on the safety index of that particular site, and not just that, we're also helping them save costs, right? So as long as you're able to showcase what you can do for them, the adoption then becomes slightly easier. So yeah, it took a while for sure, but once you get in, then it's about scaling up.
Fantastic. I have Anant of CII doing a fantastic job shortlisting questions and sending me. So please keep your questions going on chat. A question that I have on WhatsApp that says, what were the biggest challenges you faced while making a drastic career transition, Niharika? If there's something you'd like to add to your COVID timing.
Yeah. In fact, it was drastic. I used to be a finance professional and now I'm running a drone AI company. So definitely I had to spend a lot of time learning about the technology, learning about the problems. But the good part about not being from the tech industry is that I did not carry any biases, right? I was able to question, I was able to look at things differently. I was able to bring that fresh perspective on the table, and which is what actually worked for me. So it was incredibly hard, no doubt about it. Like you cannot walk into a customer meeting not knowing your stuff, right? So you had to, I mean, I had to put in the time to study, etc. But the investment banking background also helped me understand how these industries make money, where do they lose money, how do you position the solution that you have created, etc. So it was overall tough but doable because I was able to apply a lot of things that I learned on the job. Not just that, I also ensured that I visited these sites personally to understand what the manufacturing plants look like, right? Because otherwise normally you don't visit these plants. So I always ensured that I visited sites, I understood the problems firsthand, and I gave enough time to just learn about the problems that exist. So I think that is what has worked for me.
So another question that I have from the audience is, how did your background in finance, or for that matter in investment banking, if I would extrapolate that question, help you in building your company?
Yeah. So on two fronts actually. One is about how do you position your solution in front of the customers in terms of being in their shoes and figuring out where is it that I can add value to them. That is, and I'm talking about numbers here. Of course, there's a lot of technical value that we bring onto the table, but to be able to quantify that value, that's where your experience comes in handy. That is one. And second is for my own business, which is I always ensured that I'm going to build Volar Alta in a way that is sustainable, profitable from day one. I did not want to have, I mean, some businesses require that they spend 2 rupees to earn 1. But I didn't want that I kind of take that route. There's no right or wrong, but it's just that I chose this one. And just knowing the concepts, knowing how things work on the balance sheets kind of helps you to plan things for your own business as well. So that's how it's helped me.
Fantastic, Niharika. Niharika, so this is not about just flying drones over weddings or solar farms.
Yeah.
This is not about using drones to capture travel videos. Your company has picked up the turbulent skies that exist in confined industrial spaces. Why do you choose confined industrial spaces as a area where you wanted to work on? One. And second, it would have been very difficult to say no to tempting adjacent markets or the ones that I have talked about, which is often harder than saying, yes, I want to focus on this one micro area or micro niche. Tell us more about your choice and tell us how you avoided temptation.
Yeah, excellent point actually. So I'll tell you, we started with external inspections for renewable energy. And at that point of time, the rules and regulations in India weren't clear. And then in 2021, there came like a set of formal rules, regulations, which resulted into a lot of push for Make in India and, push for adopting drone technology across sectors, which is when we saw a huge inflow of startups in this space, right? I would just like to give you an example. For example, if we're talking about solar panel thermography, let's say we used to charge, let's say a hypothetical number of 5,000 rupees a megawatt, for example, right? That in one tender, I actually saw that 5,000 fall down to 398 rupees. So it is something which is not sustainable, right? If I'm running a business, I can't operate at these kind of margins. I cannot fund every project that we pick up. So I decided, okay, it's not going to be this one. Let's step out of that market. And then again, I did a thorough market research and then figured, okay, we need to pick a problem which is hard to solve, which is able to give maximum ROI, and which allows you to then be a premium player in the market, right? Otherwise, I mean, of course, the market is huge for external applications, no doubt about that, right? But which game do I want to play? I wanted to play this game, and therefore, after doing a lot of market research again, I found the confined space niche, and then that's the one that we kind of picked and stuck to for the last 4 years. Avoiding temptations, it's extremely hard. It's extremely hard. But then this is where your gurus and advisors kind of come into the picture, who keep bringing you back on the track, that, this is what you've picked, stick to it, and kind of ensure that you are able to capture the maximum market for this one problem statement that you're looking at, become the best at it, and then keep adding, other things which again align with your proposition of non-destructive testing. So we will not do, let's say, land surveys, for example, right? We will probably do a thermographic inspection for manufacturing. We would probably do an ultrasonic thickness for manufacturing companies. So that's how we're growing the niche at the moment. But it's very hard, but you need to have good advisors who will bring you back on track.
Great. So your advisors have engraved this commandment in stone, thou shalt not give into temptation, and you've actually followed it. So that's a fantastic thing. I'll take one more audience question at this point. How do you approach building partnerships and collaboration in a highly regulated and emerging sector like drones?
Yeah, honestly, it's a little difficult because in the industry, everyone wants to do everything. So it's a little difficult to actually build sustainable partnerships. But it is with trial and error that you will kind of figure out who you want to work with in the long run. Also, very important to keep your vision in mind, in the sense that, okay, maybe you are not able to build your own drones today, but if that is in your vision, that 2 years down the line, I'm going to be doing that, then better to kind of focus on how to make that happen versus being 100% dependent on a third party to do your core operations. I've been there, done that, and it works out for a while, but it's not sustainable. So it really depends on what's your vision and how you want to, what it is that you want to partner for. For example, you can definitely have channel partners who will help you boost your sales, right? You can definitely have software providers who will help you build a software but keep the IP with you itself, right? These kind of partnerships, yes, no problem. But if you're looking at building partnerships where your core operations is taken care of by somebody else, then that is where you will definitely face a problem. Been there, done that.
Excellent.
Yes.
I have a very specific question from someone who says, could you please share your experience with participation and competing in the Maruti Suzuki incubation program? And while you're answering this, you can also talk about the other such programs that you've been there.
Yeah, I think the corporate programs are very, very important. Maruti Suzuki specifically was a very different experience because it was a slightly longer program where we got a chance to interact with the business units for 3 months, post which we had to demonstrate the solution that we had envisaged for the problem statements that were shared with us. And because we got to spend that time with the business units, the understanding of the problem statement got much better and better and better. And then that's how, with that input, you're able to build a good product out of it as well, right? So with Maruti Suzuki specifically, we ended up winning that entire cohort. And that again gave us an opportunity to do paid pilots with Maruti. They are also now taking us to Japan next month to meet Mr. Suzuki and have some business networking events that are happening there. So definitely pick which ones you want to work with, of course. We did a similar program with Vedanta as well. Even they had an excellent, they have a Vedanta Spark flagship program, right? Where they incubate startups and try and work with them. So definitely it's a very good way to have your foot in the door for large enterprises. So if you're thinking of applying, definitely you should go for it.
Great, Niharika. Niharika, many founders claim that they were born with product market fit, or others reach product market fit in 3 days, 3 months, and so on. You've been there in the industry for 5 years. Tell us more about your journey towards product market fit.
Yeah, so it took us 5 years to finally say that yes, it's a massive issue, and yes, we are able to solve that massive issue. For me, I mean, I have always chosen the sustainable path, even if it may be a little slow. So it took me 3 years to refine the problem statement, another 2 years to build our software platform. And now we're at a stage where we can quote unquote claim that we might have found the product market fit. So this year it's about expansion internationally as well as scaling up nationally with the platform that we've built. But product market fit for some people, like you said, can find in 3 days. Well, I think they're extremely lucky, but I don't think something like that works out. If you're in it for like 10 years, 20 years, then you better be sure of what it is that you're classifying as a problem, and then whether your product can really solve that particular massive issue, which can scale both nationally and internationally. So last year onwards, we started getting some tailwinds in the international markets as well. And this year we got incubated at HEC Paris. Now we're part of the India AI mission as well. So it took us time, and I gave it time. And I think that is what is extremely important. Otherwise, your product will not have depth. It will definitely, you'll be able to build something, but I believe that you need to have depth in order to really ensure that it sticks around for a while.
Fantastic. So good to see that you're going international while your name is Spanish, but you're taking the French incubation and the Japanese incubation and so on and so forth, and while being completely Indian. So that's a fantastic thing. Which industries do you think have the most untapped potential for drones? You've chosen a very small micro niche, which is probably a part of your Blue Ocean strategy, which you've done. But which other industries have got untapped potential for drones? And which do you think are already crowded?
I think, for example, topographic surveys, real estate applications, all of these, even for example, solar farm inspections, I think these are the applications which a lot of people are aiming for, or even already doing, because of course the volume of work that you get in these projects is also quite large. For example, you can work with the NHAI for your road surveys, or even road inspections for that matter, right? These are some massive, there was a scheme called Swamitwa scheme where land parcels were being looked at, so, or rather digitized. So these are massive projects, no doubt about it. In terms of untapped potential, I think there is a lot of work that can be done in the ports and shipping sector, and in the logistics sector as well. Logistics as well, we have a few companies who are delivering medicines, for example, but we need to think through on how to enable the regulations, how to enable the infra to support the logistics, drone operations, etc. But I mean, potential is there, but I think we are catching up slowly and steadily for these couple of sectors. So I'm sure there's a lot of disruption that will happen even in air taxis, for example, right? So I see that these would be large opportunities again to look at.
Great, great. So I have a question specifically on your fundraising, but you really haven't done equity fundraising. Everywhere you go and pitch, everybody is happy to sign you a check for a grant. 10 lakh, 50 lakh, 2 crore. So how do you manage balancing the pressure for these quick wins versus building something that really lasts and outlasts most people?
Quick wins are good for your morale and your motivation and stuff like that. That is great. The reason why I have gone and raised grants is because I took time to find the PMF, right? I wanted to do a lot of experiments, both in terms of business models, as well as the tech, as well as our software platform that we've been building. And that is the reason why I chose grant funding as a way to push or rather expedite the product development. But in order to scale up, I'm sure that I will think of probably raising external funding when the time and opportunity is right. But not against anything, but like I wanted to take my time and I wanted to experiment with a different kind of capital versus, because once a VC comes in, it is to accelerate and to scale what you already have, right? At that point of time, I think deep tech wala thing has come in the last 1.5 years, where people are getting huge amounts of funding, etc. But maybe now is the right time for me to explore that. We'll see.
Fantastic. I have another question which is coming about the research. So did you research on other ways of solving the problem when you moved from your investment banking career into this? Or did you zero down on drones immediately?
I pretty much zeroed down on drones. The reason for that was because I was able to understand that you can have multiple applications with that one tool. So the way that non-destructive testing can be done today is also through, let's say, crawlers or robots, or there are multiple types of equipments that are available out there to do this job. But I did not want to be an inspections company where I'm actually providing that as a service and I'm going and doing 10,000 different types of tests, right? I wanted to choose drone as a tech because then it allows me to also dabble into other adjacent applications. So which is why I picked drones.
On this call, I'm sure we have got a lot of potential customers of yours. I'm sure there'll be people who are potential investors, other stakeholders. There could be some people from the government, CII, other industry members. And of course, there would also be some competitors also looking to learn from you. Tell us, give us a pitch, Niharika, for your stakeholders or your business or your industry clients. What would you tell them to convince them that sign up with me?
Yeah, two things. One is that we'll help you digitize the way your inspections are conducted. So if you have a requirement for visual, thermal, and ultrasonic, then you should definitely implement drones. Why you should implement drones? For example, if it's a 110-meter tall chimney, traditionally you would take about 17 or 18 days to go through the entire process, where you have to do a lot of safety compliances, construct the scaffolding, then deploy workforce, do the inspection, and then deconstruct the scaffolding, and then demobilize the team, right? All of this takes 17.5 or 18 days. And we can do the same job in a matter of 60 or 80 minutes tops, right? Per asset. So we will help you to increase your safety. We will help you to decrease your equipment downtime, and of course your cost as well. And to add like a brownie point is that there is also a massive impact on the carbon emissions side as well. So if you want to know more about that, you can reach out to me. You're on mute, Lalit.
Yeah, unmuted. So fantastic. So I have another question from the audience. How do you balance innovation with regulatory compliance in a sector like yours? Are there any regulatory compliance issues that you face?
Yeah, I mean, it's a highly regulated space, which is why, for example, now that I want to go international, it's a little difficult to crack the code in every country, because every country will have its own set of rules and regulations, which is where the partnerships will come in, where we will probably have to have partnerships with the local folks who will do the data capture for us, and then we kind of scale our software along with that. In India, having said that, it's a little difficult. India mein thoda sa, I mean, we have to look at services. It's going to be a little bit of a services play, because, for example, when I was in Paris, I saw that most of the companies had already adopted drones, had already purchased drones for captive consumption, etc. Whereas in India, we're just kind of getting started. So in terms of balancing innovation and regulatory hurdles, I think that's always going to be the case. Just 3 days ago, there was a new circular that came out. So these things keep happening, but as long as you're able to safeguard and as long as you're able to play within the rule book that has been defined, I think it's okay. It may take longer, but it's all right. If you want to stay in India, if you want to innovate, then you've kind of got to do it that way. Otherwise, switch.
Great. So you talked about stay in India. Let me get your perspective on the local manufacturing and the component ecosystem of drones as far as India is concerned, and for that matter, even operators that you are accessing. Tell us more about your views about the manufacturing process of drones in India, where you import them, not necessarily where you import them from, but are you using Indian drones? Are you importing them? And how do you see the Make in India component of the drones improving over the time?
Yeah.
Also, the operators, what special skill sets do you require?
Yeah, I think the government is doing a fantastic job in promoting the Make in India initiative, especially for the drone sector. Uh, the state that was 4 years ago and the state in which we are today, I think they are worlds apart. We see a lot of component manufacturers come up now, and I'm very happy to see that level of innovation being happening in the country at this point of time, because just like EVs, right, even drones, it's mostly about assembly. Of course, there is one whole huge part where you're innovating for a specific use case or a specific purpose, but largely it is about assembly. And whatever said and done, most of your parts are going to come in from China or Taiwan, and maybe some of them from Europe, right? So it's very nice to see that we now have component manufacturers as well, and we are also looking at collaborating with them, or rather utilizing their components and testing it out for our own purposes. So we've come a long way, actually.
Great. So you mentioned earlier that you're servicing manufacturing industry and infrastructure industry using your drones, but you also made a brief mention about a platform that you have. Is this something that you can talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our proprietary technology, where we spent 4 years in sort of collecting the right data sets, fine-tuning our models, and now we're in a position where we're able to completely digitize the inspection process. So right from booking for an inspection to processing the data points, analyzing it, and giving out our customers the final reports, which are actionable in nature. All of that is now seamlessly happening on our software platform. Of course, there are a bunch of things that we're doing in the back end, but I think that is for the customers to experience firsthand. So, but yes, we are leveraging AI, and we've been able to crack a few good use cases, but there's a lot of work that is still being done. So we're on our way to move from just reactive maintenance to predictive maintenance. So that's where we're headed.
Fantastic. I have a question here from somebody who's saying advice for tech people on commercializing tech. You're a person with investment banking experience who's commercializing tech, but advice to a tech person to commercialize tech.
Yeah, I think it's very, very important to have your first customer buy-in as early as possible, because only then can you build the confidence that, okay, if I'm going to invest my time, money, and efforts into building something, you have to have a buyer. No matter how good your product is, if you don't have your sales sorted right, it's not going to work well for you, because at the end of the day, it is your business, and business ka top line is revenue, right? If you don't have your top line, you do not have anything below that. So it's very important to like just get in touch with your potential customers, work with them, stick around in their plants for a few weeks, and kind of ensure that there is a lot of backing that you get from your first customer, and that's how you will be able to commercialize the tech. Do not be in that zone where, okay, if I build something fantastic, magically people will come and magically people will buy. That happens, but very rarely. So better to ensure that you have like 2 or 3 backers who will be invested in the creation of that product.
Great. So, Niharika, how challenging was it to walk into these factories where you're doing these inspections, where you've got people who are running the business as is, happy with business as usual for 20, 30 years. And here comes a person without having a significant shop floor experience, armed with a laptop and some gizmos, and saying, I'm going to change your life.
Yeah. Yeah,
How did you?
it's tough. It's very tough. I'm not going to, I'm going to be very honest and candid about it. And it's just human psyche, right? You've become so comfortable doing something that works, by the way, which has been approved. It's part of your SOP for years together. And then now suddenly you have to change the working, and there are these gadgets which you have to kind of deal with, and, new systems, etc. So definitely there is a little bit of that time, which it's like a learning curve ka time that you have to give them. But that's why by design I decided that we're going to start with services and not straight away get into the product piece. So we started with services. We are like, okay, don't worry, we will kind of help you with the entire process, and let's get started with things. Then they kind of get more comfortable, and of course I keep going back to the ROI example, that as long as you're able to bring value onto the table for them, I think ultimately it'll work out. It's tough, but it'll work out.
I have a follow-up question to what circular you were talking about. Can you please throw some light on the new circular you were referring to?
Yeah, so that new circular talks about the fact that, for example, you cannot manufacture for commercialization until and unless you've received a type certificate from the DGC or the QCI, right? So that is one of the things. There are a lot of other amendments, or not amendments actually. They're just trying to basically ensure that the space is protected, right? Given the fact that we've gone through wars, etc., it's important to ensure that in terms of security, the whole thing is taken care of. Having said that, it's difficult to implement this on ground, but now UIN type certification, etc., becomes compulsory for you to be able to commercialize. Yes, you can have prototypes, etc., but without the TC, I think that is what has been mentioned into the new circular that has come out, even when it comes to foreign collaborations, etc. So I think they're just trying to streamline it in a better way.
Yeah. I have another follow-up question to the earlier point about why you knew drones was a solution. So while you said it was probably love at first sight, why you knew drones is the answer. But the follow-up question I have is, what are the 3 major points that made you bet your life on drones?
Yeah, like I said, see, for me, it was okay. Since you're saying drones, all right, like, of course, I got fascinated with the tech, and when I did my market research, it kind of checked all the boxes. Whether is this a technology that is sort of the future? The answer was yes. Is this a technology that helps in decarbonization? The answer was yes. Is this a technology that helps save lives? The answer was yes, right? So it's a rare combination where I get to have, or rather create an impact on people, planets, as well as do all of this profitably. So that is, it was a very, I don't know, it was a well thought out decision, right? It was love at first sight, but it was also backed by certain parameters that I wanted to evaluate. But I'm in love with the idea of entrepreneurship. So that is where I bet my life on, that I knew in my gut I had to be an entrepreneur, and now it's the time, and I'm going to do it no matter whether I come from the technical background or not. I know that I'm going to give it all and see how that turns out, right? So it is that for me.
So I think it's about your deep passion for entrepreneurship, which is and your grit, which is making sure that you're really literally flying high as far as the drone ecosystem is concerned. That is great. While you've been flying high, I'm sure there must have been turbulent skies at some points of time. Tell us about some major failure that you had in this journey and how you overcame it.
Some points of time would be an understatement. There is
Tell us
turbulence.
about a major failure that you had, minus all the minor heart attacks you have every day.
Yeah. I think the major one started like probably 1 month after I started up, right? The first shock of my life was that, okay, now the world has come to a standstill. So that was, I think, the worst and the major, blow that I kind of faced. But apart from that, I think everything that has to go wrong has gone wrong. And I think all of these experiences where there are supplier issues, there are issues with execution, there are issues with team building, there are issues with technology. Sometimes you've built it and you've tested it, but then when the time comes for demo, of course it doesn't work, right, at times. So all of these things I have gone through, and every entrepreneur goes through that. It's just that it took me time to realize that. So this is going to be like one of the lessons that I learned from these kind of experiences. I wouldn't even call them failures, right? Because I believe it's setting me up for something bigger. Because if I'm not able to handle these small issues, then how am I going to scale my company? And when I scale my company, these are going to be petty, right? Probably I will face much larger issues at that point of time. So the thing that I learned was things change. You give it time and things change. If abhi aapka time acha nahi chal raha hai, no problem, but you be at it, you show up every day, you will figure something out, and then you see yourself 4 months, 5 months later, you will be a grown person, and you will be in a different position altogether. That, as well as the fact that I stopped taking things personally. It's one of the, I think, one of the most beautiful things that I learned in a very, very, very hard way, that my heart used to break, like when we used to have vendor issues or people issues, etc., right? But now it's like, okay, it's business. You need to do what you need to do. That's it, right? And you don't need to take it personally. It's hard. I'm still learning, but I think that is one of the most beautiful lessons that I have learned during this entire journey.
Fantastic. So it's your scuba skin which you put on, which gives you a hard skin probably to navigate all these challenging issues. I have a question specifically for the drone landscape, but let's extrapolate this for a larger issue. How dynamic is the quantum of the drone landscape? There's no major, according to a questioner, there's not a major great moat or a USP as far as this business is concerned. So what do you do to create that USP or to create that moat around your business, which is not just for the drone industry, but for other industries as well? What is your lesson for creating a USP or a moat which does not exist otherwise?
I think USP and moat is developed over a period of time if you're able to achieve that depth in understanding the problem statement. Because that itself is going to give you more ideas as to how you're going to be able to solve not one, maybe 10 problems for the same customer, right? So use case is the thing that will actually help you to discover your moat. But in today's time, especially when we're talking about, let's say, software, right? With vibe coding and with AI agents and whatnot, it's very easy to replicate the workflow. But what goes inside the workflow? How should the workflow actually be to suit your customer's requirement? Is your data, or are your AI models being trained on publicly available data sets which may actually not work out in real life situations? Or have you taken the pains of collecting that data for 4 years, 5 years, and then building your models on top of that, right? That will create differentiation. People may not see value in it today, but when the solution gets implemented and when your accuracy is or rather when you're performing much better than the others, that is when that USP or moat will kind of come into picture. Another thing that I also realized recently was, after a point, your tech moat will not help you to scale. The moat that you need to have is that of distribution. If you crack your distribution, then you will be the winner. Because in today's time, especially on the software front, etc., I think more or less people will be able to build similar systems. So what kind of business model you're able to come up with, what kind of distribution do you have, and how you're planning to scale your business, I think that will take you 100x, or like you'll be able to achieve scale with that. But it's extremely important to also have the tech mode so that you have that early mover advantage and you can build your distribution around that. So I think that is what I have realized.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. And that's what I've been shouting and getting my voice hoarse. Distribution is king. And if you have a good distribution, an average product with great distribution will always beat a superior product with average distribution.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I talk in terms of invisibility tax. So if you have built your distribution in advance, or you built your distribution running ahead of you, which is not the case with founders, you're obviously lagging behind everything in the earlier years, then you are unbeatable. That's absolutely right. I have another question from somebody, which is triggered from your talk about AI ML. How is AI ML being implemented in your projects? But before I go to AI ML, let me talk about another fundamental thing. Whenever we see people flying drones or hobbies as well, these are very visual things. But in a confined space, the entire what is called traditionally flying drones on open space is completely different. How easy or difficult is it to fly in a confined space? How do you get operators? How do they fly? And how do you implement AI ML in your projects?
Yeah. So, of course, confined space inspections are tough, especially for the industries that we operate in, because these are equipments like chimneys, boilers, tanks, pipes, ducts, etc. And the reason why you're doing the inspection is to find out if something has gone wrong. So even if you might have, let's say, the drawing of that particular asset, and you might have a fair idea of how you want to plan the flight, etc. But what if something has gone wrong? What if the rod is supposed to be like this, but it's broken and it's kind of become slanting, right? How do you deal with that? So you need to have extremely skilled pilots who also understand what to look for, how to look for it, and where to look for it in these specific environments. And that's how a lot of this is also learned on the job, by the way, where the customer comes and helps you out. Okay, why don't you also help us locate this? You will find this there. So then the pilot needs to figure out, okay, how do I get there, right? But these are not autonomous inspections on purpose, because you do not know what is out there for you. So these are skilled pilots for sure, who need to have a little bit of knowledge base for these kind of inspections. Coming to your second question of AI ML, I think there are numerous ways in which you can implement it. The way that we have chosen to implement it at Volar Alta is on the processing and analytics side, where we want to utilize AI to predict what issues these assets might face in 3 months' time, in 6 months' time, etc. Because at the end of the day, what we want to help our customers is to avoid unplanned shutdowns, because whenever there is a shutdown, you're not producing. And if you're not producing, you're losing money, right? So that's where we're kind of implementing AI to achieve predictive maintenance through robotic inspections. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Another question from somebody in the audience. What role does persistence play in sectors where adoption is slow?
Persistence is probably the single most important ingredient if you are a founder. Persistence, resilience, all of these adjectives, I think these are the things that actually define a founder. Definitely, whether slow adoption, fast adoption, doesn't matter. You need to show up every day, no matter what period, right? So 100%, it's one of the most important ingredients in entrepreneurship.
Fantastic. We have VCs also on listening in. Ninad is also there as a very experienced VC and somebody who's built businesses across. What do investors really look for, Niharika, in deep tech startups like drones, though you've not taken VC money yet? but I'm sure you've already, the way you've been planning in so much detail, I'm sure you've planned this also कि 50 साल 100 साल 1000 साल बाद क्या होगा. So please tell me
इतना भी planning नहीं करती हूँ.
So please tell us what investors really look for in deep tech startups like drones.
I think the first point that you brought out, right, of product market fit, I think that is important. Whether your technology is really solving a big enough problem, I think that that is where it starts. And then, of course, I'm sure Ninad will be a better person to answer this question. But yeah.
He'll ask you the same question and he's signing the check. We don't ask him why he signs the checks right now.
Yeah. No, but of course, what questions VCs ask, I think we should ask Ninad the same thing. But I think that is the first thing, and of course, projections and whether those projections are healthy projections or not. For example, having been on the other side of the table, right? I never ever say that my market size is going to be one tiny percent of a huge billion-dollar market, and then that's how I am kind of going ahead and pitching my solution, right? I never do that. I love to do research, so I know India में these are my customers. Each customer के इतने plant है, each plant में इतना मेरा काम है, and then I'm charging XYZ, and then that's how my SOM is this, right? That's how I will kind of do my pitching. But yeah, so market size, real market size, product market fit, I think these would be important. And team के बिना तो कुछ भी नहीं है, but I guess these things as well. I had an issue where, just when we were having conversations with people, I don't have a co-founder, right? So that is a major risk factor because of nothing else, but simply if something happens to me, then what? Right? So in the beginning, I used to feel, oh, it's so sad, every time people come and say you don't have a co-founder, blah, blah. But I understood that it is a real problem. So I am a solopreneur, and it's going to be slightly more difficult for me to raise funds whenever I do want to. But it's fine. I think that also can be figured out along the way. When we hire our top leadership, and we can definitely de-risk that element at the right point of time.
With an adventure junkie like you, who has a parachute in a bag and an oxygen cylinder in a boot, I don't think there's any risk involved as far as you're concerned. So don't worry at all. If you fast forward 25 years, Niharika, what is your boldest vision for drones in India? And if you were to make a pitch for some policy change, then what is the one change that you'd ask for this ecosystem to really go crazy?
Okay. So in terms of change, it's a tough one, honestly, because everything needs to be viewed from the lens of national security, right? When we're talking about drones. So asking for a change is going to be a tough one, honestly. But what we could do is, on the flip side, is of course, Make in India initiative is there, but encourage more or slightly larger funding that can go to the deep tech startups. Like, for example, there are grants. Some of the grants are, let's say, 7 lakhs, 8 lakhs, or 20 lakhs, right? It's probably not enough for you to do the R&D to a level where you're saying, oh, I have a brilliant product. It's so differentiated that the world has seen nothing like this before, right? So for that kind of a product, you need to have that kind of investments. It's like most of the, like, everybody wants 5-star treatment, but budget is Oyo, then it's not going to work out, right? So I think that would be one ask for sure. And as far as boldest vision is concerned, I will talk about my industry. There is so much work to do just to digitize a lot of things that I am imagining a day where in the central control and command center, people are actually just viewing everything that's happening in their plant. And the digital twin is a true digital twin and not some random 3D model which has been kind of designed and you can rotate it around. around. The digital twin, where you are able to bring in multiple parameters from your IoT sensors, from drones, from crawlers, your SCADA systems, etc., and you're able to understand real time what's happening with the asset, right? So I think that's where I am looking forward to, but step by step, we're nowhere close to claiming that we can do predictive maintenance yet. But yes, we do have the foundation laid for it, and we're working really hard to get there, and we should get there soon. So that would be my boldest vision, where everything is kind of automated and not a single life is lost for activities that can be digitized with tech. So yeah, that would be my wish.
Fantastic, Niharika. What I'm taking away from this are three things that I'm sure a lot of us can relate to in this room. One is your focus, staying disciplined on a micro niche when so many other markets are tempting.
Thank you.
The second is your vision, which is backed by a lot of solid research. And the third is your grit or resilience, which has helped you fly high even when the markets were down. With that, let's give Niharika a big round of applause for showing us that when you choose courage over comfort, you don't just fly, you fly high. Thank you, Niharika, for such an inspiring journey from a banker to a dronepreneur. You spotted invisible problems in literally confined spaces and have helped industries save a lot of money. Thank you, gracias. For everybody in the audience, make sure you log in again next time, same time next week. Thank you so much. See you again soon. Thank you, Niharika.
Lalit. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you, Ninad. And
Thank you,
loved
Ninad.
the questions and loved the interaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Niharika. See you
Thanks for
soon.
joining
Thanks,
in.
Ninad.
Bye.
Thanks. Thanks, Anand.